Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we investigated a group of rebels on a planet that seemed to have been spurred on by the Alpha Legion. And now we are going to go back to that planet and push back a rebel counterattack against the High Command of that planet.
Your day will come, Thorn.
So, recently I was on the 40K subreddit, just kind of goofing around, seeing what's up, looking at a lot of the models people have painted, and I saw a new Primaris model where it's, I don't know if it's supposed to be a Terminator or what it's supposed to be, but it's a guy, it's a Space Marine, with what honestly looks like, you know, a yoke? They're typically put across like an ox or something across like their front shoulder blades to pull something or to carry weights. Some people do similar designs to carry like buckets of water in areas that don't have easy access to water. Imagine that, but like a full, like almost like a giant, like take a tabletop, like a circular table, cut a hole in the middle, shove your head through that, and then on each of your shoulders put like a 6-shot rocket launcher, like cluster of rocket tubes on each. And that's what was equipped on the guy. And I just sat there thinking, what is this? This doesn't even look good for a design. It looks so out of place, and just push the guy over. That's all you have to do. You want to defeat him, knock him over, he's probably not going to be able to stand back up. It's kind of embarrassing, some of these designs. And then they had a Necron model that came out, and I'm bad with Necron, like the new Necrons, because they've added so many since I first started looking into them. But it's this new, like, Ophidian destroyer, I think, but it looks like a kit bash. If you took the, I think it's the Wraiths, that are essentially like hooded cobras, but with a Necron, like, warrior body on them. You put that, then you take, like, you get rid of the actual, like, cobra hood part, and you give them, like, it's like a tonfa that some of the, like, destroyers, I think, use them, and you give that to them, and that's their loadout. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it genuinely looks like a kit bash. And I always say I don't like just talking trash on things, but it just looks weird. It looks a bit weird, it feels a little out of place. I almost feel like at that point you might as well just sell your normal Wraith units, and then instead of packaging an entirely new model, having to make new stuff, just make a smaller conversion kit. I know some people probably wouldn't be happy with the idea of like, oh, I have to buy a Wraith, then buy a conversion kit, and it's like, it's honestly just cheaper in terms of production, most likely, unless you're just repurposing the designs in the first place. That's just me. But then as I was sitting on the Reddit as well, the subreddit, I saw just a bunch of really cool and well done paint jobs on models, and it just made me think of Eternal Crusade again, and how sad it makes me that that game... I hopped on Steam because I'm like, let's see the reviews for that. I mean, I knew they were going to be bad. They were mixed, which is surprising to me. But I was reading some of them, and guys are like, yeah, you can't get a match started unless the Discord server has a bunch of people together saying they're going to start a match. And then people saying like, yeah, it's been a year since we got an update. And it makes me sad. Because, you know, everybody wants to be a backseat game dev. I'm going to do it. Partially because I know what I'm talking about. And because this isn't that difficult. First things first, you just stick to Empire and Chaos, or Space Marines and Chaos, initially. Because the main goal here is to have a stable framework. They started rushing out, oh, we gotta get the Orcs out, we gotta get the Eldar, we gotta get all this. The combat system was jank in the first place, and they were trying to, you know, fix melee and the storm shields, which were, for a while, busted as can be, while also going, oh yeah, we're adding new characters. No. Support what you got, and make sure that works. That needs to be your priority. I see this a lot, especially with smaller studios or indies. They're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do this, we're gonna promise the world, but we're not going to build a proper framework. You know, we're not going to solidify what we have, we're just going to keep building. And to a degree, I understand. It's the classic Yandere dev situation, where his whole concern is people don't care about fixes. You know, fixes aren't the hot thing that brings people in. But if your game is good, it'll bring people in. If your game is good and balanced, it'll keep people long enough you don't have to worry about, okay, what can I use to drag them in quick? So you got that. And it's like, they walked that game back so much. It was going to be an MMO, it was going to be a PlanetSide style game. It became a normal, like, match-based third-person shooter like Gears of War.
Let's take a look at that.
Quick read this.
Thorn, I want you to transmit an urgent alert from the ship to the PDF and the Adeptus Arbites. Use the Inquisitorial Vox channel. Code Red. Situation critical. The rebels want to blow up the ancient geothermic power nexus to destabilize the planetary core. I will stop them. But should I fail, the authorities must know about this.
But the game just got watered down so heavily. And it didn't help, like, some of the higher-ups would sit there and just be like, oh, we're going on vacation. And just not tell the fans anything about what's going on. It felt like they took the player base for granted. And it's a simple matter of, when it comes to 40K, the people who are interested are typically quite passionate. That is pretty apparent. And the thing is, 40K does not have mass appeal. I mean, we're starting to see more people get into it, which is both a blessing and a curse, because for every, 100 good people, there's usually one idiot who wants everything changed and tailored to their needs and desires. you know, ignore the existing fans, give me what I want kind of mentality. But, you know, it typically is not a mass appeal thing. You need to, if you are making a 40k game, listen to the players. When people say, man, you know, the Terminators you created don't look like Terminators, there's probably something to understand from that, and probably something you can look at and say, hey, you know, these guys sit around painting these things for hours on end. They probably know what they look like. And honestly, just the fact that they, like, if they had stuck with the planet side attempt, I think it would have been fine. But just continually walking it back. The vehicles have no, like, point in the existing version. Like, I've seen a lot of the maps. The maps suck. You know, as a grander map, these buildings would be fine. Because you could sit outside the area and shell in, or you could transport guys to the fight, but not sit there and have them, you know, there. That's not how this stuff works. Ah, yes. Run in and shoot them at point blank. But so it's just, it's disappointing. Especially when, you know, people say it all the time, Space Marine exists. Space Marine came out 9 years ago. Almost to the day, I believe, because it came out in September, I think, because I remember getting it. And I love that game. It was... It was a well-designed game, and the combat felt good. I didn't play the multiplayer at the time, but from what I understood, the multiplayer was also pretty solid. I don't know how you mess it up, but, you know, there's always someone who can do what you thought impossible.
Take it like a man, Guardsman!
It just makes me hope we can get someone with some competence to make a 40k game.
Take it like a man, Guardsman!
I mean, if I had a team and the funding, I would do it myself. You know, that's to the point I'm at where it's like, I'll do it. I just need the people, and I just need the resources. Now, do I genuinely think an indie studio could make a good 40k game? Yeah. It's, you know, like I said, it's all about resources. If people have the money and the time to put into it, they can do it. I think with a lot of, especially with 40k games, I think a lot of the people who make them, I don't think they have a lot of faith in their own capabilities, or they're too eager to copy something else. And typically what they copy isn't a good thing in the first place. I mean, not even indie, it was... it was Relic with Dawn of War 3. They were trying to copy, you know, the not World of Warcraft, the Warcraft 3, League of Legends kind of Dota vibe-ish setup, and it's bad. And that game flopped so hard that they didn't even do DLC. They just flat out said, nope, we're out. We can't do anything with this. I remember some of the guys I watch who do... Oh, that's floating rubble. they do like shoutcasting for Elite mod. Like the guy I watch the most is Indrid, and he did like one, I guess, like relic started tournament in the game, casted a couple games, and then like nobody just sent any gameplay in after that. Everybody was just like, nah, this compared to Elite mod, it's trash. Admittedly, I think Dawn of War 3 started to suffer from an identity crisis, because you had the first one, which was very base buildy, throw huge number of guys at each other. It felt like 40K, like how it's portrayed in the books. Then you had Dawn of War 2, which felt more along the lines of tabletop. It was Company of Heroes 2 style, guys hugging terrain, and each individual squad is far more valuable and can gain far more power than prior. And I think they didn't know where to go and how to find a proper balance between the two. And especially, that is a case where listening to the fans is difficult, because people like both. So, making it one way or making it another puts you in a precarious situation. And the sad part is I don't think between the two games there was a wrong game to choose to, like, essentially make an expansion for, to make a sequel based on. The wrong move was the one they took, which was make a game based on neither. Which is always funny to me, because it's like, yeah, you can make a game based on, like, Warcraft 3. The thing is, in a vacuum, Warcraft 3 is good. In a vacuum, StarCraft is good. Compared to other games that are modern, they suck. RTS games have evolved. They've spread out so much. I mean, come on, back when Warcraft 3 came out, everything was essentially just Command and Conquer reskinned, or Age of Empires reskinned. You didn't have much in terms of, like, design diversity. Now there's a bit more. Sure, you can go back to those older designs, but you really, really, really need to update. We've seen with stuff for the new Age of Empires 4. Looks like we're getting actual squads of units instead of, like, oh, you made one swordsman. Because, sure, that worked back in 2000, but it's been a little bit, it's only been, 2 decades.
Loading.
Tech has advanced a little, so you can do that. Granted, I also just vehemently dislike StarCraft because its entirely competitive scene is the most bland thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'll just micro-rant here. The co-op stuff you can do, you can buy all these different commanders. You can get, like, Egon Stetman, you can get Arturius Mengsk, you can get all these other guys. You can use Stukov, all these characters who have completely unique mechanics, unique unit rosters, all this stuff. But then you pull the actual, like, normal multiplayer competitive shenanigans, and it's just Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. That is incredibly bland and shows no willingness to innovate. Watching guys pick one of 3 factions and slap each other repeatedly isn't that fun. You gotta do a little more than that. Hey, we won. I like these missions. They're nice and simple. Just run around, smack a bunch of dudes, leave.
Take it like a man, God.
Mega pull? Huh. Kind of a weird name.
Die, maggots. Onward. Don't linger, guardsmen.
Grab those credits, and we will call it here. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you are new, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.